have a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tokimaru and I'm here to have a look at Grooveyard. This is a 2D tile placing puzzle game. It was developed and self-published by GuavaGoose Games, and as far as I can find, this is their first fully published game, and it was based on a Game Jam game, actually. They actually have the Game Jam version of this game called Mausoleum Maker up on their itch.io page if you want to check that out. It's free to play, so you can play that before coming to play this game. Now, I normally like to start these games by jumping into the options menu. However, there is no options menu here to speak of, and that is a little bit of a problem. So this is a 2D puzzle game. It doesn't require that much in terms of options, but I do think it's missing a couple very basic features such as full screen on or off, resolution options, rebindable controls. Now, this game plays entirely with the mouse and keyboard. I mean, it's mostly mouse driven, and then there are a few hotkeys, but other than that, it's mostly just mouse driven. I actually do think that this game could benefit from being playable with controller, but if this game is meant to be played with a mouse, so it's not that big of an issue. My main problems are with the fact that it doesn't have basic features like full screen and resolution options. But like I said, it's 2D pixel art game, doesn't need that much more than that. So let's jump right into this game. So this is a puzzle game where you go from level to level across a world, and there are about 6 worlds in total. Now you may notice that I have a bunch of numbers on my screen. That is because I have actually 100%ed this game. Normally for have a look at, I like to play like maybe halfway or a little bit more than halfway into a game, depending on the length of the game, just to get a decent idea of the game rather than playing them to completion. But this one's pretty short. It's about 4 hours long. I do think that based on the difficulty of the puzzles, 4 hours is actually really, especially with the amount of levels that they have. The number of levels that they have, as well as the difficulty, make it a very fulfilling 4 hours. It might actually take you longer because I think World 6 is extremely difficult. But yeah, overall, I think I just got so absorbed into this game that I completed it in about 4 hours, which is why everything is done here. Let's start by showing you a couple of the basics. So here's how the game works. You are playing as I don't know, like a lich, a necromancer. You're the big boss skeleton, and you are in charge of a bunch of other small skeletons. All of the other skeletons are in their graves and they need to get reunited with their soul. So if I click on the skull or if I press space, those are controls. That's the hotkey. The hotkey is space. I start the level and we're done. So the way the game works is each skeleton has a set of actions that they're going to do. So you see he has go right and then jump. So if I place tiles like the game said to, this game, it's the sound effects and graphics of this game. First of all, pixel art, beautiful. I think this game has beautiful pixel art in it. Sound effects, incredibly satisfying. There's a lot of polish in this game. Really, extremely just fun to do anything with. It makes it very satisfying to like place blocks very quickly. Like if this is my solution and then I can erase them really quickly, it's very satisfying. But basically, once I've placed my blocks and I press space, the skeleton's going to go right and then it's going to jump. You see there? And that's basically how the game works. Our goal is to use our placed blocks to try and guide the skeleton to its soul. So because of the way these are placed, initially when I was looking into this game, I was expecting it to be much more music focused. And that's not to say this game doesn't have some cool jams, because the music in this game is really good, but just based on the screenshots, I was expecting it to be a bit more music focused. But as you can see here, each direction is sort of placed on its own bar, that comes to you, and then the skeleton does its thing. So it's gonna start by immediately going to the right. I believe it waits a space, and then on the third space, it jumps. Yeah, okay. So you can tell when a skeleton is going to take its action based on the placement of the actions in the bars, as well as the grid. So this is 1 space, 2 space, 3 space. He starts on 1 space, 2 space, and then he jumps on the 3rd space. So for example, he jumps exactly on that block. So if we just do this and let him go, he will get to his soul and we will complete the level. That's basically how the game works. Now, each level you can get up to 3 skulls, and you want to try and use as few blocks as possible. And it actually tells you up in the top how many blocks you need to use in order for I believe it's how many blocks you need to have left in order to complete the level with that, for that skull. So we have 2 blocks left, and I believe this should work, right? Yeah. So we have 2 blocks left. It needed us to have 2 blocks left to get the full 3 skulls, and now we've done it. We've completed the level with the minimum number of skulls possible. So it's really cool. This game, you can actually like play it with... Ooh, that was bad. You can actually do a lot of different solutions to achieve the same result, and it's really cool because like you can like maybe, I don't know, you do it unoptimally. Like you saw there are actually 2 solutions to getting the minimum possible number of skulls. Oops. So it's really good. It's really simple to play. I think the gameplay is very satisfying. If I head into a later level, let's just go into this level over here. It gets a lot more complex, so they can do a whole bunch of different moves. So he immediately jumps to the right, then jumps to the left, then jumps to the right. Whoops. Maybe this? Nope. Here we go. This has got to be it, right? Ooh, no, not yet. There we go. Perfect. So they get a little more complex. I think this game overall does a really good job at balancing the difficulty, because all the first levels, they're pretty simple to wrap your head around. As soon as we get into like World 2, for example, this is when they start introducing different gimmicks to each level. So for example, the first level of this world introduces you to the ability to wall jump. So he's going to jump and then he's going to immediately wall jump. So if I do this, he's going to jump and then he's going to wall jump and then he's going to win the level. I can actually beat that with 1 fewer things. I made a mistake. That's got to be it, right? There we go. So yeah, they introduce you to a bunch of different mechanics as you go throughout the game. I think they do a really good job at balancing the difficulty of the game. It feels like a very satisfying ramp up across all 6 worlds, and each world, of course, ramps up in difficulty in their own right. I think about in about like World 4 is when it starts to get pretty tough, to where you're going to have to spend a lot of time, quite a bit of time on a level. I think this was actually a level that it took me quite a bit to figure out. I'm trying to remember how I did this. Something like this. But this was a level this was like the first level where it started to take me quite a while to figure out how to do like the most efficiently. Like, see, even there, I need to find a more efficient way to complete this level. But yeah, the balance of this game is really good. I really like the sort of Lemmings-esque gameplay mixed with the block placing puzzles. Additionally, as you go through these worlds, whenever you beat a level, you get to talk to the skeleton that you just saved. There are like a billion skeletons in this game, so there's like a lot of different incidental dialogue. It's very charming. It's very charming. This game, it has a lot of elements of different types of puzzle games and mini games that I like. Like it's very Lemmings-esque, except it's more of a it's these bite-sized puzzles instead of a big level with a billion lemmings in it. I guess it's more like Choo Choo Rocket or the hamster minigame from Professor Layton, or like laser and mirror puzzles, that type of thing. But yeah, the difficulty curve is very well balanced. Every part of this game feels like a joy to interact with. Let me see if I can go into like World 6. World 6 is where they combine every puzzle gimmick. This is where they actually start to get really, really difficult. Not this one. World 6 is actually really difficult. I think this world took me the most time out of all my gameplay. I think it took me like an hour and a half to complete all on its own. But yeah, you see we have like so many more blocks we can place. And obviously you have like a lot of puzzle elements you can get through. And finding the most efficient way, like beating all the levels isn't necessarily that hard. It might be for some of these later levels, but getting them perfect, which I think is like one of my favorite parts about games like these, getting them all perfect is quite challenging. So yeah, it's a very short game, very small, but I think it's very worth it. The design of the puzzles and everything is very good. It's about 4 hours long, but I think your time spent on it will be very satisfying. This game is about $3.99 on Steam or your regional equivalent. And like I said, the Game Jam version is free on itch.io if you want to check that up before buying the game. Additionally, this game also has a free demo on Steam itself. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will see you all next time.